Hello, in today's video we're going to be talking about significant figures, and we have a couple rules that we must follow when we identify how many significant figures are present in a given number. So a significant figure is a way of identifying how precise and accurate your actual measured value is. And every instrumentation down in the laboratory will have a given set of significant figures. So when we record numbers, we not only have to record the number itself and the unit, we also have to record the number of significant figures that are present within that number. So let's go through the rules for significant figures and identify how we know how many significant figures are written in any number. So the first rule is pretty simple. All non-zero digits are significant. So the numbers 1 through 9 are significant. Doesn't matter where they are placed in a number, they are significant. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 123, each one of those numbers is a non-zero digit, so each one of them is significant, which means that there are a total of 3 significant figures here. And you'll see me write SF for significant figures. So if something goes wrong with significant figures on an exam, you'll see the symbol SF. So 1, 2, 3 has 3 significant figures. That's a pretty easy one. All digits are significant. All non-zero digits are significant. The problem and the difficulty comes when we start talking about the zeros. So there's quite a few rules with the idea of the zero. So all leading zeros do not count. So the number here, 0, 0, 1, 2. We know that automatically these last 2 digits that are non-zero do count, so we have at least 2 significant figures. These zeros that are in front of the number are called leading zeros. So the way that we read a number is going from left to right, and we skip all of the zeros at the beginning of the number until we hit our first non-zero digit. So we don't count this first one, we don't count the second one because they're both leading zeros. We haven't hit our first non-zero digit. We get to the 1, that is our first significant figure, and then the 2 is another significant figure. So 0, 0, 1, 2 has 2 total significant figures. All leading zeros do not count. It does not matter if there's a decimal place or not, all leading zeros do not count. So this number had 2 SigFigs, 0.0012. We keep reading from left to right. That is not significant because it's a leading zero. That is not significant, leading zero. That is not significant, leading zero. This is our first non-zero digit, so this number also has 2 SigFigs. So it does not matter if a decimal place is shown or no decimal place is shown, leading zeros do not count. Okay, so we know about leading zeros. The next rule is for captive zeros. A captive zero is any zero in between 2 non-zero digits. So let's take a look at this number, 1002. We have no leading zeros, but we do have this digit. We know that the 1 and the 2 are automatically significant because they're non-zero digits, but now we have to identify these zeros inside. Both of these zeros are called captive because on either side of them, they have a non-zero digit. So we have a 1 to the left, we have a 2 to the right. Now, it doesn't matter that this zero sees a 0 next to it. It's still, if you keep reading to the right, there is a non-zero digit. So these are captive. They're like bookends. These digits are bookends, and they withhold these zeros in between that number. So for this number, since these are captive zeros, and all captive zeros count, 1002 has a total of 4 significant figures. The 1 is significant, the 0 and the 0 are both significant because they're captive, and the 2 is significant, so we have 4 significant zeros, or 4 significant numbers. So we have all digits are significant, leading zeros don't count, captive zeros do count. Now we come to trailing zeros. Now what's a trailing zero? This is a 0 at the end of a number when there are no other zeros, or no other digits present. So they do count if they're a decimal place, they do not count if there is no decimal place. So what does that mean? Well, if we take the number 120, there is no decimal place present here. Okay. So I'm not showing a decimal place. This is a trailing zero, it is the last number, it's a 0 at the end of a number, and since there is no decimal point, it does not count. What that means is 120 only has 2 SigFigs. Now, if we change this number to 120 point, this number has a decimal point, So all trailing zeros do count. So this number down here, 120 point, tells you that you have a total of 3 significant figures. The 1 is significant, the 2 is significant, and the 0 is significant because there's a decimal point here. So that makes this have 3 significant figures. So 120 without a decimal point is 2 SigFigs. 120 with a decimal point is 3 SigFigs. Now I know this may seem a little bit confusing, but take notes on all of this information. We will cover a lot of this in class. So I will see you all tomorrow and have a great night.